Previously on Three of Cups.
Telling her no because he doesn't want to argue with her. He doesn't want to risk an argument. He doesn't want to risk a conflict upsetting her. So what's not being identified here is the fact that he's walking on eggshells. Sometimes space is practiced and it's okay to regulate space. But in this scenario, she's not used to space. She's not used to being given space. She sees space as abandonment. She sees space as a triggered area of insecurity, disconnection. You're going to always constantly experience distance. You're going to always constantly experience the same reaction from your partner, from the way the direction of every conversation turns out. Because that's the type of relationship you're having with yourself, aside from the external relationship you're in.
He's taking a day out of the week that we're supposed to be spending time together to go and hang out with other people and not include me.
Maybe he's living his life?
When I deserve to be included too, I don't understand why he would...
Up next on Three of Cups. Up next on Three of Cups.
You're not going to know what a genuine connection really looks like. And you're not going to understand what a healthy amount of space looks like versus an unhealthy amount of space. It's going to be hard to tell while you're in a space of limbo with operating in the idea that if you just do things for them, if you continue to just keep doing things, when it's obvious they're avoiding you. It's obvious they're now making time for themselves where they're choosing themselves to avoid you in the relationship because it's hard to now talk to you. Nice of a partner you've got. I don't care how thoughtful, awesome, patient they are. If you don't learn to sit with the areas of yourself that you have been having other people and other connections compensate for when you are triggered or reacting to them, you become the problem when you're not responsible for yourself. Which is why, for her example, she's in a space where there's disharmony in a relationship she's assuming her partner is causing. Communicate to them because she just wants a connection through communication is what it's showing here. Her insecurity has led her to resorting to a trait she has developed for a sense of survival when it came down to feeling she's acting on a habit she developed through survival. When you develop that kind of habit from an area of survival, where you seek conflict from another person just to communicate about a topic that is tough to talk about without conflict, you're coming from a wounded space, which means you're not necessarily ready to
What was once one turned into three, reconnecting with our family, a safe space to speak authentically. We raise our cups, unifying as three. We bring freedom in community, random thoughts and golden nugget treats. Welcome Three of Cups community. Let's go ahead and raise the frequency.
more helpful in what you're helping with. You're just making an unspoken expectation. You're just going to piss yourself off because basically this is what I mean when I say that you put yourself in a position to be upset at something you're expecting somebody else to compensate for you emotionally. If you do something for someone and then they don't show up in the way you're expecting them to after you go out of your way to help them, or be there in the way that you know that you would want somebody to be for you, and they're not showing up the way that you expected them to show up after the way you went out of your way for them, that is on you. That's on you to reflect on. That's on you to reflect on. Because then you have to ask yourself the question, did they actually ask for your help? Or did you just offer it? And then if they did ask for your help, were you clear about what you were looking for in return? Or did you just offer your help assuming that your connection would get stronger because you kept offering your help? And the way that you saw your connection getting stronger was through them involving you more in everything that they do in their lives, instead of keeping you at arm's length or maintaining a certain distance within the connection where things were less awkward. See, if we really break this down, there's layers to this. It's layered. But the foundation of the layer starts with you. Until you can look at your own BS and actually evaluate every angle of it, you're not going to know what a genuine connection really looks like. And you're not going to understand what a healthy amount of space looks like versus an unhealthy amount of space. It's going to be hard to tell while you're in a space of limbo with operating in the idea that if you just do things for them, if you continue to just keep doing things, when it's obvious they're avoiding you, it's obvious they're now making time for themselves to where they're choosing themselves to avoid you in the relationship because it's hard to now talk to you, because they don't want a conflict with you, they don't want you to react to them. It starts with you. And that's why the questions are so important. And that's why the questions have to be layered. If you try to just cram the questions in and answer every single one without actually sitting with each one, you're bypassing the process of reflection, and you're just reflecting on questions for the purpose of wanting to just rush through something, which in turn is then the type of relationship you're building with yourself, and in turn is the type of relationship you're welcoming into your personal life. If you can't have the patience to sit with yourself, nobody's going to have the patience to sit with you. Nobody. And when they do, they're going to lose their patience sitting with you, because you're still not taking your time with yourself to learn how to learn how to show up for yourself and fill the voids within yourself you're seeking for connections external of you to do for you. I'm going to give you a golden nugget here. It will never be enough. I don't care how good of a connection you have. I don't care how nice of a partner you've got. I don't care how thoughtful, awesome, patient they are. If you don't learn to sit with the areas of yourself that you have been having other people and other connections compensate for when you are triggered or reacting to them, you become the problem when you're not responsible for yourself. Which is why, for her example, she's in a space where there's disharmony in a relationship she's assuming her partner is causing, because she's still choosing to not look at herself. Her cause of spiraling is a causation of her own inability to reflect on her own personal behavior and how she's showing up, not just in that moment during that conversation, but in the moments even before that led up to her partner choosing to begin to not communicate verbally anymore in the first place. Let's continue.
Generating problems to feel connected to him, I see.
I don't understand it. everything I'm doing around the house, everything that I'm doing to make.
So, generating problems to feel connected. Let's get into it. Generating problems to feel connected to a partner when you are completely at a loss for exactly why things are in disharmony. You don't know exactly what to do. You're asking everyone for advice, and everyone has a bunch of different advices, and it's never ever it just seems to never ever be the best type of advice. It's like it's just enough, or it's like the band-aid, or it's like, you know, here's this statement or this advice to help you, you know, feel better about yourself, and try this approach, try that approach, try this approach. How about we completely wipe that off the table? Let's wipe that off the table. I think it's actually important now that it's not about asking for advice in these periods of times. It's about asking for the guidance you need to look at yourself. If you're at the point of generating problems just to be able to hold a conversation of some sort with your partner, you've reached a point of disharmony within the connection where it's escalated to needing to be in conflict in order to actually open up with one another, because you're not in a space yet between the two of you where you can be vulnerable without conflict. Basically, if she in this example here is generating problems, which is obvious, generating problems through conflict, just to be able to communicate to them because she just wants a connection through communication is what it's showing here. Her insecurity has led her to resorting to a trait she has developed for a sense of survival when it came down to feeling she's acting on a habit she developed through survival. When you develop that kind of habit from an area of survival, where you seek conflict from another person just to communicate about a topic that is tough to talk about without conflict, you're coming from a wounded space, which means you're not necessarily ready to have the conversation if you're approaching the conversation through attempting to create conflict. If your partner is avoiding you because they don't want conflict, if your partner is avoiding on talking to you and not saying anything to you because they don't want to have a conflict with you, those are likely signs that a lot of the conversations you have with your partner are all rooted in conflict instead of connection and conversation, which in turn is a form of getting in the way of having a genuine connection, because you're still operating from a habit of survival that you developed at a younger stage of life that you have yet to look at.
This communication in the relationship work, all the effort I'm putting into having the initiative to open conversations.
The initiative to open conversations. If you're taking initiative to open conversations through a form of approaching it with conflict, you're initiating conflict. You're not initiating connection. If you know you're someone that holds majority of your conversations through conflict as a form of being vulnerable and creating a
Coming up on 3 of Cups.
is your choice if that is what you want.
When I'm talking about things that I notice or that I'm telling him that I'm worried about.
So you want him solely to live and focus only on you.
Like, he tells me that I'm nagging and nitpicking, but I know that I'm just trying to help because I'm just concerned and worried about the fact that we're not spending enough time together. I mean, Yeah, I know. He spends time with me literally 4 days a week. But first day night, I mean, why can't he give that night to me too? Like, I deserve it. I deserve it.
Invasive of personal independence, I see.
Okay. So, connected to someone that doesn't allow her to stand in a position to feel she can be able to be independent of herself without feeling she needs to just live for specifically that person or that connection to feel at peace within herself. So, naturally, she starts spiraling because she's encountering someone that